Welcome back to Two Martinis in Space, coming to you from the high top. My name is Benjamin, and this is my extrinsic co-host, Roger.
Oh, look at that. I didn't have to say this is Roger. That was a new moment in my life.
I was planting that to see if that would work.
Yeah,
I didn't say your name.
Planted a little seed in my...
Right.
Never mind.
Right, because I know that, you're Roger. You're not having a sex change.
Right. We did talk about sex changes in the last podcast.
We did.
Yeah. And I was like, this is how I want to introduce myself. I'm Roger, and I'm not having a sex change. That's an interesting introduction.
That is.
Anyway, currently the high top is my parents' house because, sometimes I drive to my parents' house. They got utilities that I don't have.
Obviously, you're utilitarian.
When you eat a dick, all right. I mean, no, actually, no. That's a pretty good point because I'm willing to sacrifice, a couple bucks in gas to have a greater, more advanced use of a water hose at my parents' abode.
Right.
Yeah, and that's basic utilitarianism.
There you go.
That's a good lesson for everyone listening.
So how about you eat a dick?
No, that's terrible.
All right.
That's terrible. That's not utility. There's no utility. We did actually just snack though. We had some spinach things.
What were they called? Spank?
They were called Spankopitas.
Spankopitas?
I assume they were trying to do something with a pita word and spinach, and they're like, let's call it Spinato Pita, but people just said Spankopita. Right.
I mean, it's very hit and miss whenever it comes to PR and naming stuff, so...
It is. That is a really interesting point, actually. Like, let's think of some brands we just know.
Ajax. Dishwashing.
All right. Oh, that's actually got a story, though. You know the story of that, right?
No, I don't actually. Yeah, I actually just thought, this is way too futuristic of a name for a product like this.
Ajax was apparently a Roman soldier who fought Greece.
Oh my god. I never knew.
Now, I don't know if that's 100% fact, but I did read it on the internet.
How fucking weird is Nike for a brand?
Nike?
Yeah.
Does that one have a name?
Does that have a story?
I mean, it has a name.
Wait, do you know the story of Nike?
Hold on, yeah.
Okay.
No. I think I know the story of Puma and Adidas. I think they're two brothers that made competing companies. Okay. I'm pretty sure that's out there. I learned a lot of soccer and brand related stuff when I played soccer with a bunch of Mexicans because they're all about knowing that Puma, knowing that Adidas, and enchiladas.
Enchiladas are good.
Yeah.
What are some other weird names of products?
Yamaha is a weird name.
I'm sure that means something.
It's Japanese. Those crazy Japs.
Like Suzuki.
Let's offend everyone.
Kawasaki.
Crazy Mexicans. Japs. Transgenders.
Okay.
Getting hardcore here. Anyway,
hardcore.
Back to Apple. Apple's a weird one.
Apple is a weird one.
Yeah, invented by a total asshole. Not an apple, surprisingly.
Right. You think Steve Jobs was an asshole?
Dude, he was an ultimate asshole.
You think that he was the worm in Apple?
He was the worm. Because he did just find... Wait, no, that's Bill Gates. Bill Gates is the worm in the apple, right? Because he found the technology later, and he utilized it later.
Right, but they wrote their own Mac OS using the same types of... I don't know anything that I'm talking about right now. So
I don't know anything either. I was actually really, really trusting in you just then to know.
I noticed that.
My friend does know things.
I was listening to our podcast because I like to review our stuff, and I was listening.
Edit,
Yeah, I was listening to myself talk, and I thought, wow, my voice is so much more monotone in real life than it is in my head.
Yeah.
And I realized that this makes me sound super serious about stuff. And there are a lot of things that I say on this show that are complete bullshit. And it does not sound like I think it's bullshit.
It comes off as funny serious.
Okay. I just hope...
really...
Because I was listening to it and I was like, I would trust me.
I would trust me?
Trust me.
Good lord. Man.
Right.
All right. I don't feel worried at all sitting next to you.
Here's the thing. I talk out of my ass 89% of the time.
89% of the time.
And a lot of it is complete and utter useless information that is not even real.
Yeah.
So just bear that in mind. Even if I sound like I'm driving a point right home and I'm telling you facts.
He's actually driving backwards and he has no idea where he's going.
I am. Here's a story.
Oh God! Wait, hold on. Should we preface this? This is a story about the BS, or this is a BS?
Well, this is a story about running the wrong way.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So here's the story, guys.
I'm on board.
I played t-ball
on this backwards train
as a child, and I remember this moment. It was so embarrassing to me. Like, it has stuck with me since the time I was like in grade school, like t-ball level, like not even like a pitching machine yet, like on a tee. And I hit the ball, nailed the ball, and then I like ran the wrong direction.
Then I would kill myself.
Yeah.
I would have that. What was it, like 10-year-old existential crisis? And
I did. That was like.
Oh, you did kill yourself.
Yeah, I did. Well, wow, existentially speaking, there was a part of my carefree nature that died.
Existentially speaking, I died that day.
There were a couple moments that I died. Like another.
So you're like an existential Jesus, just coming back, dude.
No, not coming back. I'm more like an existential corpse. I'm just like reanimated.
Reanimated. More of the same.
It's hollow on the inside.
Hello again.
Hello, everybody. I'm depressed.
I will die soon, but for the moment, we're doing stuff. Yeah,
we're doing stuff right now, guys.
We're doing stuff.
And
People are always doing stuff. Sometimes they do monotonous things, and then I think they. Actually, I want to say people cherish that monotony. I can think of many a time where a character in a movie or something like that has been especially bothered by the break of monotony. Let's say
you get busy or you're doing something with your life and you miss the comforts of not doing anything.
You miss the comforts of sitting in your bed watching YouTube videos. Because that's like a comfort to me. What are some comforts of you?
You know what? I share that one. I often like to lay in bed and watch YouTube videos.
Yes, that's quality.
I like to sit on the couch and watch YouTube videos.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you ever go to the kitchen and watch YouTube videos?
I do. I like to sit at the kitchen table and eat cereal and watch YouTube videos.
That's interesting.
YouTube sponsor.
YouTube. Shout out to YouTube.
Right.
For being a host.
Always there for me whenever my friends aren't.
I would argue that sometimes I'm trying to do YouTube and it's just like, why you give me all this shit? You ever get on YouTube and you're just disappointed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, that's why I've like tried to like build a very large subscription bar, so I always have like something to like try to go to. But oftentimes I get on there and I'm just scrolling and I'm like,
Yeah. See, here's the thing. I wouldn't say I have a large subscription bar, but I'm probably subscribed to 20 people.
I don't think that's a YouTube problem though, because whenever I get in that mode of like looking on YouTube and everything's and then I'll be like, okay, well maybe I'll go do something today. So I'll go outside.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, and then I'll like get in my car and drive around and be like,
What is your life? Just a story of
It is. And then I'll go to the coffee shop. I'll talk to some people, and it's like,
Oh, it's kind of better there. Yeah.
Right, it's like getting
nice
there,
coffee shop.
and I think whenever I think sometimes the monotony becomes too monotony.
But I bet that if that monotony was taken away from you, you would miss it. You'd be like, I wish I could be bored.
The grass is always greener.
Yeah,
all the time, guys.
But is it actually greener? Why is that something in our brain that we cherish? We long for things we don't have. That has to be, God. That's got to be a cultural problem. That can't be a human problem.
I think it's a human problem.
You think it's a human problem?
I think people have always, since we were Neanderthals, like have always wanted something else.
Is that why we like strive to advance?
Yeah,
that's
why people migrated, because we were like in the cradle of humanity in like West, East Africa, somewhere in there, and we're like, fuck this, we're gonna go walk north, and then they walk north, and then we're like, we're just gonna walk east, and then other guys are like, well, we're gonna walk west.
We're gonna walk west. East side, west side. They're just yelling at each other.
Right, and
that's how the nomads work.
Then we had a West Side Story with Neanderthals and
classic play.
How interesting. Okay, ooh, big topic.
Okay,
no, big topic.
No.
Do you want to go here? You want to talk about immigration?
No.
Okay.
No. No, I do not. Actually, yeah, I do. You know why? Because my fiance, she is a very smart woman, and recently she wrote a paper on how race doesn't exist.
Right.
And I was like,
fill me in.
Well, first of all, naturally, I argued with her about how it does.
You always have to take the opposite side.
Yeah, I always have to take the opposite side, especially before she's explained her side.
Right.
That's classic Roger.
Yeah.
Like, that's the Roger she loves, even though she hates me then.
She's like, Roger, I came up with a solution. Race doesn't exist. You're like, you fucking asshole. Yes, it does.
That's basically it. And even though she loves me, she may hate that part a little bit. But okay, so I was like, nah, race exists. Like, that's a thing. And that was basically my profound argument.
Like, yeah, race exists. Don't you see these other races?
Yeah, don't you see skin color pigmentations, and she was like, "No, listen, Roger, it's like." And I'm gonna fudge her whole theory because obviously I don't know it as well as she does.
Right, so you're gonna inject some Roger into that Olivia,
and it's gonna get messed up. Well, hey, it did. So she was telling me how it's not. There's nothing in like genetic coding that actually decides your skin color, and I was like, but babe. And again, argued immediately.
Right.
I was like,
didn't even hear it.
Yeah, didn't even let her finish the sentence. Right. Probably. I was like, but what about, like, stereotypical things, like Asians are shorter, white people are average heights and average everything. And she's like, no, that's just like your projection bias.
Yeah.
You have a bias, and it's being, it's being confirmed by outside sources, and you are blind to
the exceptions.
And I mean that's so often the case. Okay, anyway, again, fudging her research. This is me trying to play back, and it's not going well already. But no, I and then I started to agree with her, naturally.
Right, because you have to.
No, because I needed to, and it was true.
Okay.
She was right.
You didn't have to, but you needed to.
Yeah. Semantics are key.
Right.
Because that's what I realized I was just arguing against.
All right.
We were arguing about semantics because people aren't racist. People are actually locationist. Yes. Okay, here's the thing. Like, racism does exist. It does. There are people that don't like other people because of their skin color, but I'm going to give some historical backing to what I'm about to say right here. Oh, are you sure it will be right?
Yes. Okay. This one is not bullshit.
Okay.
I'm probably going to inject bullshit into it.
Right.
But here we go.
Flavor it up. It's like when you put, like, extra butter in that cake.
Yes.
Like, you don't tell anyone.
Right.
And they're like, shit, this is really good cake. And you're like,
it is good cake. It is good cake.
Yeah.
Not good butter, that's for sure.
That's right.
So, here's the thing, guys. Back in the 1800s, America was like, white people, all the way. Okay. And, they're like, we don't want people coming into this country unless they're white because we want Americans to be Americans. And so they had court cases.
You did that right at the end. They just like pelvic thrusting, like
yeah, like just like he just thrusted right into his podium, like right on stage.
Do you think it fell over and it made for like just a dead silent?
I think it rocked.
Moment?
I think
rocked?
Like rocked back and forth
as they were cheering, and he was like, "Oh my god, that could have been terrible." And I bet it haunted him. He existentially died that day.
The white people were cheering.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
And so the thing was, guys, is like back then in America, they were having court cases to like actually determine like, are Hawaiians white people? Are Asians white people? And there were people from other nationalities that were sending in applications to be considered white people.
That is absurd.
Yeah, it is absurd. And what's weird was that Asians, no, not white people. Hawaiians, not white people. Mexicans, though, were white people.
Oh, man. Wait. Am I weird for thinking that's incorrect? No. That's just
no. Because
right.
if you're basing it on color, on white,
skin pigmentation,
right? Obviously, like Asian is closer to the color white than brown, but they made exceptions because it wasn't skin color that they were actually probing for. It was culture.
This is fueling you right now. And
yes.
It's funny that you bring up this point because Olivia was also telling me in the research that she did, or in the articles that she read, that that lost my train of thought. Because there are such varying degrees of skin pigmentation, pigmentation that such a large percentage of people are misdiagnosed ethnically at death. Like, based on the color of their skin, they're misdiagnosed as to what their bloodline actually is.
Yeah.
Because it's just a thing that's like, it's not scientific. Skin color is not, there's no scientific sectioning.
It's weird because I dated a girl who was white, but she was like Costa Rican. Mm-hmm. And then I dated another girl who was brown, but she was Greek. And very confusing. Anyway, so the thing is, guys.
What's her name, Ajax?
It was Ajax.
It was Ajax.
I dated Ajax, yeah.
She was so good at doing dishes. God damn.
And then I awoke and I realized that I had slept with a goddess. And I said, strike me down!
You did?
These are the lies of poets.
Oh, okay. I was following you again with the BS.
Anyway, so the weird thing about this whole racial loophole was that Mexicans were white people, Asians not white people.
Racial loophole.
No.
Sounds awful.
Here it is, because here's the thing. Irish people not white people.
Yeah, because they were potatoes, right?
Right.
That's what they're like. The scientists were like, nah, they potatoes.
Yeah.
They're like, we ran tests, we used lab rats, they potatoes.
Exactly.
That was the science.
That was the science behind it. But here's the thing, is like people were like, man, these Irish people are white people, let them over. And so we get there and they're like, man, fuck these Irish people, they're not white.
So they're just like mad at the culture.
Yeah.
Mad at the potatoes.
And so like, I don't think that race was ever really a thing. I think it was more based on culture and because of like the way that people were like confined demographically.
Yeah.
In accordance to like, you know, the way that evolution kind of like made their pygmy the way it was because of you know, weather and
location,
stuff like that.
It's all location. It's
yeah.
like, you know, if you lived in a sunny area, your skin was obviously going to accommodate for you so you could live longer and live better.
Right. So it doesn't matter, you know, if we were to take all the borders away from like everybody and we were just to have a global society, there would still be segregation based on cultural difference because of location.
Based on, cultural and location.
Yeah, so that was the thing, was like race wasn't really a thing, that was more culture probing.
Yeah.
And they didn't want other cultures that weren't American culture. And Irish people did not fit that persona, even though they're the whitest of them all.
They are. Maybe they're just beyond white.
They're too white,
It's like when you go to Home Depot and you're looking at white colors, and then there's that whole section of like even whiter white.
Right, it's like Aristotle
it's
talking
like
about the golden mean, and he was like, you got to be white,
yeah,
but you can't be Irish.
But if you are Irish, you're
too much.
You are at the end of the spectrum. You are immoral.
You're not virtuous.
As we all know, Irish people inherently immoral. This is true.
I'm Irish.
This is true. Inherently immoral.
Yeah,
Well, if we're talking about the golden mean, that's what it is.
Yeah, I'm a immoral piece of shit.
Oh, that's just
self-deprecating.
That's just negative. I can't deal with that. I can't deal with that after the great snack we had, which we thought was paper when we cooked it. Listen to this bullshit. So this is
Spankopitas.
This Spankopita is it's basically spinach wrapped in a crescent roll.
Yeah.
In the shape of a
triangle.
Equilateral triangle?
No, a right triangle.
Isosceles triangle.
No, a right triangle.
Yours were right triangles?
Yeah.
I had the isosceles.
No. No, it was a right triangle. It had a right angle and then a really long.
Hypotenuse. Oh, come on. We sound dumb now.
I was going to say hypotenuse, but that was like...
For all these semi-good stuff we talk... Anyway.
I can tell you about Pythagorean.
Spankopita, when it is frozen, it does not look as good as it does on the packaging. Absolutely.
It looks like it's wrapped in soggy paper.
Yeah, and so we started to peel the paper off, and we tasted it, and we're like, this doesn't,
not paper.
This doesn't not taste like paper. Therefore, it must be paper. And then I peeled a large chunk off, and I was like, wait.
Right.
This is the food.
So then we realized that it was not paper, and it wasn't going to light on fire. And so all of our Spankopitas, you could see the spinach exposed on top because we peeled off like layers of crescent roll.
A naughty exposed Spankopita.
We're smart guys.
We spanked that pita.
Oh. Spankin' pitas.
Spinach spankin'. That's some cool alliteration. Do you know what's do you have like tendencies when you write school papers? Because I have I'll
to use alliteration.
Yeah, dude, I'll explain what I mean.
Oh, all the time.
Strong tendencies, like all the fucking time.
That's a tactic.
I'm using alliterations.
That's what you do. If you use alliteration to drive a point home, like the point that you're making, if you sum it up in like 3 words that are alliteration, like people will remember that. Well,
I just like do it all the time.
Right.
Like throughout the paper. It's just like I just can't not do it.
Rhyming works too.
Rhyming?
Yeah.
Rhyming in a school paper.
No taxation without representation.
Well, that's for like a chant, you know. I'm not talking about chants. I'm talking about...
No, people turn that into a chant.
Oh, you will. Well, then maybe I should write more school papers.
There you go. Do you want people to chant your papers?
Do you want people to remember your school papers? Fucking rhyme. All right. Use words like goat and moat. Coat.
Boat.
Boat.
Hote.
Shit, you already said boat.
Tote.
I almost... when I was a kid...
Yeah.
This guy was like, hey, do you know any word that rhymes with orange? And I'm like, no, you Asian bastard.
And you're like, door hinge, you fucking asshole.
Yeah, and then he fucking said door hinge. What an asshole, right? What a fucking asshole.
It's 2 words, unless you hyphen that shit.
Yeah, who would do that? Also, you really have to slur the word orange to make it rhyme with door hinge. You have to say orange.
You have to slur door hinge to make it sound like...
You have to unslur orange.
Orange.
Like, I just say orange.
I do too. I say orange.
No one says orange.
No, not orange.
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 Ash Ketchum.
Right. Except for orangutans. That's different. You don't say orangutans.
Yeah. Oh my god, you know what I just realized?
What's that?
Not only do you say catch weird, you say ketchup weird.
I do?
Yeah, you say ketchup.
Wait, me personally, or people?
You say ketchup.
What?
I've heard you say it in passing.
No, how do you say it? What's the right way?
Ketchup.
What?
Ketchup.
Say, what are you saying?
Ketchup.
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 Yeah, like
ketchup.
No, see, you're saying it weird. There's no A. Have you seen Heinz Ketchup?
No. It's like KETC or some shit.
Yeah.
It's like no TS.
No, it's TCHUP.
I thought it was TSUP.
No, see, you're doing that weird thing where you say catsup.
I think it has two spellings.
We're gonna on break. We are actually gonna check this out.
We're gonna Google that.
There will be a strong Victor. We should make a thing for the Victor. What should the thing be?
You pay me $10.
$10. I do not have that kind of cash to throw around. I just opted into the new Google Fi program.
Yeah, how's that going?
So fuck you, Ben. Well, it's going. It's going. I paid for the phone and now I'm waiting. This is America.
You know what? I got a $100 pair of headphones for free, and again, I love Dell guys, but every single time I've ordered something from Dell, they've lost my order.
That is sad.
That's 3 out of 3 orders I've lost.
But did you get reimbursed?
I've gotten my orders. I didn't get like fully reimbursed.
So it was just like a time thing.
No, they just lost them, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, we see that your order never went through." And I was like, "Oh, okay, I've been like waiting for like a week, and I had 2-day shipping."
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah.
You paid extra for the 2-day shipping.
Well, I get it for free because I'm a member, but anyway, bullshit. Anyway, speaking of papers, guys. So here's the thing. I'm going to tell some stories.
Rolling papers.
No.
The spinach Spankopita papers.
Well, I was talking about like writing papers.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
Different direction.
Very, very different. Anyway, continue.
I write Spankopitas in college. And
dude, I spanked a pita or two in college, yeah.
I would spank a pita.
Yeah.
Like a pita member? Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, I think they might like that. No, they'd be like, you're hurting the cotton. My pants are made of animals. Sorry. I don't know.
No, dude, they don't like animal cruelty, dude, and they would be like, you can't spank a human. That's animal cruelty. Oh my
god, you're right.
Yeah.
PETA must also be is forced to be a human rights activist as well because humans are mammals.
Even though they're not, they know that? Because they burn down buildings and hurt people.
Do you think they know that? Do you think they just like whiffed over that in the guidelines?
I think there's a lot of whiffing.
There's a lot of PETA whiffing.
There's a lot of whiffing in PETA.
Whiffing of your own ass.
Right.
Fucking PETA.
A lot of whiffing there.
Anyway, the papers.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
So I went to a college like a year ago that I'm no longer at because it turns out, guys, like...
Dude, this college is fucking cultish.
It was...
I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know, I know that there are people are going to... I'm not going to say the name of this college.
There are people.
There are people that know me.
It already sounds like...
That are going to say, how dare you, and I'm going to say, you're programmed.
Yeah, honestly, it is really... scary how many people they trick and confuse into thinking that it is a really good thing. I guess in some aspects it is a good thing.
It is.
But from the inside, you realize that I'm being brainwashed.
Yeah.
Or there's an attempt at brainwashing.
So here's the thing, guys. Like, you know, it's like any institution. It's a double-edged sword. There's a good side and there's a bad side. Mm-hmm. And the good side, I know a lot of people from like Eastern Europe that have gone there that have awesome opportunity because of it. But the bad side of that is that it is not a normal place. It's not like... It seriously did feel like I was in a cult. So like this place is like a religious college. And
it's a place where you get free tuition if you...
you're basically becoming a campus employee.
Yeah, you become a campus employee and they help you pay for your yearly tuition and room and board. So that sounds like a great deal. It really does.
That's what I was told. People were like, "Hey, you know what? We got some rules, but you get free college." And I was like, "Hell yeah!" So I enlisted. That was my little high school voice. I was in high school. I was like, "Oh yeah, I want to go to college."
Yeah, but then you adulted and you're like,
and then my voice got deeper along with my sorrow.
I think I have like $40,000 in student loans. How will I pay that back?
You won't. See, here's the thing, Roger, is like, now you have debt, and because you have debt, you can't become a citizen in other countries.
Oh, and, wait, hold on, are you kidding me?
No, that is why I actually chose not to do college here in America, because if I go into debt, I won't be able to move to a different country.
That is absurd, but makes sense.
Yeah.
But do you think we could just cross the border to Canada, get new identities, and continue this podcast under names of Jim and Bogart?
You can do weird stuff like go to an English-speaking country and like forfeit your American citizenship, and then they're like forced to take you in a weird way. Yeah. Don't really know how that works though.
That sounds like the opposite of That's like reverse rape.
You can get eloped to someone of that nationality.
Yeah, I mean, Olivia's pretty German. I feel. Yeah. She's hella German, but she's also part like Native American. Fuck people that say Indian when they mean Native Americans, and I know people do it in like a colloquial sense.
Right. It's just it's natural speech.
But it is problematic when I took an American history course in college and they use the word Indian to describe Native American.
That is an issue.
That is silly.
That actually blows my mind right now. I didn't even know that they would do such a thing.
It was absurd, dude. It was like I was trying to learn about from like the 1400s to the 1800s. And every time they were just like, "Yep, the Indians," and I'm like, "Really, the Indians from India?
Right?
Are you sure?"
And then they called the colonists from Europe. They called them Americans.
Yeah, and exactly, it was out of hand. Like once they made that single error, I just didn't know what was going on.
Dude, did you hear about in Colorado they were trying to change one of the school boards? Maybe it was in Texas. Probably both.
Oh, I think yeah.
Yeah, they were trying to. There was a school board in which like parents were allowed to like change their curriculum, and they were trying to make it so that history would be changed to only teach things that were positive about America. And I was like,
I mean,
what the hell kind of dystopia?
Already like that?
And pretty much,
yeah.
I got out of college, guys, and like I fell in love with history, and I read history all the time, and pretty much all of my experiences whenever I'm reading history now is like, this is not the way I was taught.
Yeah.
This is not the same thing that I was told.
It's really strange. You could even say it's even cultish.
Very much. So here's the thing, guys. I was at the school, and whenever we go into the college, people were like, yeah, there's some rules, but you get free college. And I was like, hell yeah, I'll do it. So I go to the school.
They really gloss over the, hey, there's some rules.
They did. Like, honestly, I felt lied to whenever I was in there, because I was like, this is not what I was expecting. Like, this is way overboard.
Yeah.
And so like I was there, and you have to go through orientation in which like you don't get your cell phone, you get put in like groups of people, and you got to go around and do like community service. And you know what, community service, my hat's off to you. Good stuff. Virtue, ethics, I don't know,
but forced community service only creates resentment.
Yeah, pretty much. Unless you are a stoic and you're like, this is the hand that I am dealt.
Well, yeah, unless you're like, well, I mean, yeah, if you're a casual dude and someone's like, hey, you should do community service, and you're like,
sure, man.
I mean, that's not a bad idea. I'll try it. And then you try it and you're like, yeah.
Yeah. And so I get into this college, guys, and craziness. I mean, like, weird religious, political craziness.
It is so crazy that there were like rumors going around at high school about things that had happened that were honestly probably true. Like one girl got kicked out for having too brightly colored drapes in her room. I don't know if that's true, but I would not be surprised.
Whenever I was there were two girls there that discovered that they were lesbians, and
okay, yeah, that's fun.
Right, so they're going to counseling, and because
wait, they were going to counseling?
Yes, they were going to sexual counseling.
Wait, why?
To overcome their lesbianism.
Is that how that?
And
I don't know.
Anyway,
I'm not a scientist.
Word got around, and they were kicked out of the college.
Holy hell!
And I was like, my God,
that is
what is happening?
That is some low tier
and
like level of caring.
I mean, I feel bad bashing the place, but not really.
No,
and
no one knows what we're talking about. Surely,
I hope not. And so, anyway, so I was there, and I had one instance. We had to sign a contract when we first came into school that basically said like, I will uphold the values of blank college in myself and others, like pledge kind of thing, and you got to sign it. And I was like, yeah.
Did you have to like memorize and chant it with other students?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
I would have been.
You have to like write a paper about the values of the college.
Wait, you had to write a paper
about the values of college and stuff like that.
I would have immediately just dropped out of that college. I would have been like writing a paper about the college for the college. Is this graded?
I had to take a history class about the college.
What the fuck?
I learned that like when the college was founded, I learned about all the presidents of the college. I learned about like the evolution of the college. It was a class.
Not only is that dumb, it's boring.
Very boring.
Yeah.
I didn't care about that. I was like, I'm here to get my gen eds done for free so I can transfer out and go learn computer programming.
And do real stuff.
Yeah. I was like, I just don't want to pay for gen eds because that's bullshit, by the way. But
paying for gen eds?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's stuff that you already know.
It honestly, I would say that it is a lot of stuff we already knew. And if there are so many general ed courses, why don't they just move those to a high school level? Because I mean, I don't.
They shouldn't be optional high school stuff because people are like, oh, take college algebra and then you have to do that gen ed. Why don't you just like have everybody do it, and then you just go straight into your major like every other country in the world.
Every other country. Well, every other first world country.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really does seem backwards to me that we're like, oh yeah, we're done with high school. Now I can finally take those classes that will, that I'm interested in, that I get to do for the rest of my life. But then they're like, nah, wait. We got like high school DLC right now. But we're calling it college.
Right.
And it's just really bullshit.
College is like EA games. Yeah. They're like making you pay for the same thing twice.
God damn.
Yeah. They're like, hey, here's half of it. Your parents will pay for it. Here's the second half of it. Now you pay for it.
I'd understand if it was like advanced. If I went to college and took some advanced general gen ed courses, and they were like, hey, take this calculus, but wait, it's super calculus. Or like, take this biology class, and they're like, wait, it's really advanced biology.
Right, it's mega biology.
And I get the problem with that is like, there's just not enough time to teach advanced calculus or mega biology in a semester or even a year. I get that. But then just do it in high school. Just advance the learning curve in high school.
Right.
I know high school is a time of like, yeah, party.
No, it's not.
You know why? Because, wait, no, it's not?
No.
I
mean, that's part of it. There's more than that.
Honestly, you might as well party during high school because college should not be party during. College is the reason people get away with partying in the first 2 years is because of that gen ed cushion. If there were not general education courses,
there would be no party.
In the first couple of years, nobody would be able to party.
Oh my God, I've never thought about this.
They'd be like, good God, we have to actually study. And in high school, you can party because it's easy. First couple of years of college, you party because it's easy.
Okay, I feel that. I'm going to think about that over the break, guys.
Is it break time already?
It's break time.
Interesting.
Yeah. Welcome back, guys. Okay, second half of the show.
Hold on. I just want to tell you something. So I'm wearing these pants today.
Yeah.
They used to be pants. They were my favorite pair of pants. They were khakis from Pakistan, skinny khakis. And I washed them so much. I mean, look at them. They're actually almost white now.
Yeah, they are.
It is insane. But I got some like really unsightly holes in them, like by the dick area.
Yeah. I would say that's right on the dick area.
I mean, I hang to the left. Personally, because my phone's in my right pocket.
I feel you.
I don't want vibrations.
You don't want dick cancer.
Dick
from those cell phone. You don't want from those cell phone rays, right?
Dude, I mean, cell phone radiation is gonna kill you.
Yeah,
that's a fact of life. I'm
okay with that. It's worth it. The entire collective knowledge of mankind gives me cancer. I'll take it.
I mean, that's a pretty funny way to put it, actually. No, these pants are just like they're my life, man. I've just had them since like 10th grade.
Right.
And that has been, 5-6 years?
Yeah.
I haven't really worn them the past year.
Longer than that.
Yeah, well, I haven't really worn them much the past year because now I turned them into jorts because they shrunk too much in the dryer and they were too short to wear as jeans. But this hole, man, I don't know. It
it's time
gets
for
to
new.
me sometimes.
It's time for new ones.
I have tried.
You can't wear dick hole pants in public.
I have.
I mean,
I still do. Anyway.
I mean, you can. It's just not good for rapport.
Ben has a story to tell.
I do. We're talking about crazy college times, guys.
We were.
I'm at this crazy anti-party college. Oh, no alcohol allowed on campus. I learned some very interesting ways to smuggle alcohol.
Through your butt?
No.
Yeah, you just get drunk outside, put the alcohol in your butt, and then you're drunk, and you party. That's the thing, dude. You put alcohol in your butt.
You can. Have you watched Jackass?
No.
Okay, there's a part where he puts a tube in his butt and takes a funnel, and then they pour beer.
Anyway, done. Next.
And so anyway, one of the interesting ways to smuggle alcohol was take a Pringles can, and you put the beer. It fits. Beer cans fit perfectly.
And put the Pringles on top of it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. You just smuggled one beer. You are getting trashed.
Dude.
Like, what the fuck is one beer?
But here's the thing: is like you get like tons of Pringles.
Wow, you're really having to invest.
And then you're
having to invest in your drunkenness.
Yeah, and then your
Not
RA.
only are you buying the beer, you're buying lots of Pringles.
And then your RA is like, "Yo, what are all the Pringles for?" And you're like, "I'm throwing a party, alcohol-free, sin-free, with all my friends with Pringles." Pringle party, right? We're gonna put the Pringles in our mouths and look like ducks. It's a duck party.
And then they're like, "Please stop talking."
Right. And then they're like, "Okay, motherfucker, get out of here."
Yeah.
And so anyway, we have to sign this contract, and I was working. My job was working at the restaurant, and that was like, basically you work there, and it's very awkward because everybody's sad, everybody's miserable, It's like an entire massive, like, nice restaurant.
Yeah, to make it worse, this is a nice restaurant. People who come to
our area,
people will come to visit this restaurant actually specifically.
Yeah. It is like a highlight of where we are. This restaurant, and I work there, and it's this huge restaurant, and it's run by homeschooled college kids that were placed there randomly. Because like I was the only person.
The turnover rate is pretty high.
Yeah, I worked at a gourmet restaurant before this, so I was like one of the only students with actual gourmet restaurant service, stuff. Yeah. And so,
like, oh no, you can't call the cheese, you must call it queso.
Right.
That is gourmet.
Well, here's the thing.
Did you call it queso?
The first night I was there, they didn't know that it was my training night. And this girl was like, I need you to run dishes, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, all right. So I get this tray, and it has like fucking, those like bowl things that you put.
So you've been a waiter before?
Yeah.
At a nice restaurant?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I had to take this tray, and it had like stacks of plates.
Super heavy.
It was like a 15 top, yeah.
Fuck.
And so I set it down and serve it, and they're like, wow, that was really good. That's the most amount of plates that anybody's ever served here.
Because you just like knew how to do it.
Yeah, and I was like, bitch.
It's all about that waiter physics.
Yeah, I was like, bitch, it's my first night.
And you just thought, damn.
This was shortly before I left the college.
Suck my Pringles can.
So at the end of the day, we break down the line, and they make fresh bread.
Hold on, for all the non-waiter people out there, what does break down the line?
All right, so you have like this bar area in the back by the kitchen where the waiters will run through, and then as they're sliding around on the slippery floors, they will like slide by and pick up trays. And
Is everyone on roller skates?
Yeah, pretty much. That's basically what it equates to.
That's a rule. We had to write an essay about these roller skates.
It was super slick back there. Like people fell all the time. Yeah. It's crazy, super dangerous. But it's a private institution, so your constitutional rights are fucked. And
this is true.
So I get back there, and you break down the line at the end of the day, and they have all this fresh bread. Like they're making fresh bread 24/7 there.
Yeah, well, because like we said, it is a pretty decent restaurant.
It is. It has good food. I loved the food there.
Yeah, a lot of it's like locally made and stuff, like locally grown, locally made, and stuff like that.
So we kind of had to wear like a tux with like a white thing over it. It's like a
faux tux.
Yeah, like a faux tux. And at the end of the day, we break down the line, and I was always in charge of throwing the bread away because they're like, no one can have this bread. You have to throw it in the trash. You can't take it with you. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. I'm taking the bread with me. Like this is fresh bread out of an oven, and you're putting it in the trash. Like what the hell are you doing? So I would always drop the bread like down my faux tux.
Yeah.
And I would like line my body.
Look hella puffy.
I would.
Ben would get real jacked after dinner and just show off his muscles.
We had to get server jackets, like the white jackets. Yeah. I would always get ones that were too big for me.
Yeah.
So that way I could like stuff it full of bread.
You're like Han Solo.
Yeah. Smuggler.
The smuggler. Yeah.
Smuggling beer.
Yeah, smuggling beer.
Smuggling bread.
Like honestly, this is good.
Right. So I'm like dropping the bread down my faux tux and lining my body, and then I was like putting it in my pockets. So this particular night, I was in charge of training a new girl that came over from like the ice cream parlor. And so like I was telling her,
fuck, you have an ice cream parlor?
Yeah, they make their own ice creim there.
Oh.
And so I was talking to her, and I was like, okay, at the end of the day, they tell us to throw away this bread, but I'm not going to throw away this bread. Like I'm keeping this bread because I'm poor and hungry. Yeah. And so I'm like taking the bread, and she was like, well, the manager said that we can't take the bread. And I was like, look, and I used my hands. I was like, you have technicality way down here.
Yeah.
And then you have practicality way up here.
Way at the top.
Yeah. I was like, there's no reason to throw this bread away. Like, it's going to be in the trash and no one's going to eat it. Or I'm going to eat it.
I honestly can't think of a single person who would disagree.
Yeah. Except for this girl.
Except for this bitch.
Yeah. This bitch. So, she's like, at the beginning of school...
give her a fake funny name. This is hard. I know. I honestly don't have any good ideas, so I'm really dependent on you for this.
I'm going to call her Margot.
Margot, solid.
Yeah, that's like a solid, like, wealthy, homeschooled, awkward kid.
Okay, Margot.
Yeah. So Margot, she was like, I actually didn't even learn her name when I was there, but this is the first time I met her.
Hardcore.
And she was like, at the beginning of school, we were told not to, we had to sign a contract that said that we will fulfill the values of the school within ourselves and others. And if you don't put the bread in the trash, I'm going to have to tell the manager on you. And I was like,
I would have slit her throat right there with the kitchen knife and then been like, I don't know what happened.
I thought
she killed herself.
I thought she was joking, so I laughed.
Yeah.
I laughed. I was like, ha ha ha, funny, as I proceeded to drop bread. And she was like, she like stared at me stone-faced, and she was like, I'm being serious. And I was like...
Dude, that's hardcore, like, psychopath, serial killer mode.
It was scary. because like I stared at her, and then like I had a mental breakdown like in my head because like I had already been like really bothered by all the weird cultish things going on around me, like how they were telling us like basically reinforcing with religious motive like not to complain about your jobs or else you're sinning and stuff like that, like weird shit.
Yeah.
And so
you're like, the realization is truly coming to fruition at this point, and you're like, dude, I cannot imagine the anxiety.
Right. I know. Like, in my head, I had a mental image that was, like, so vivid that it scared me. That I had... Like, so the bread came on these massive metal trays that were really hot.
Yeah.
And in my head, I was smashing her face with this hot metal tray.
Dude, that's some, like, brutal psycho shit.
But then, like, after I got done smashing her face in my hallucination...
You moved to the tray, and it was just a crescent roll. And you're like, oh, my God, what have I done? What have I done to this girl's face?
No, I removed the tray, and it's just like wires and stuff, and she's a robot.
Oh no!
And then like I came back to reality, and I was like, oh, okay. So I started like removing the bread from my shirt. And
did she tell any?
No, but God damn it! Like the next thing that happened was I was talking to this kid, and I told him I was like, man, this place like cool. I told him what happened with the bread stuff and stuff like that. He was like, yeah, man, it's really weird and freaky. And then the next day, I get a call to the dean's office, and I go into the dean's office. And he was like...
we heard you complaining.
Yes.
No.
Yes. He said, we've heard that you've been making waves about our institution. And I was like, who the hell told?
What?
And I was like, these kids are the thought police from 1984.
Dude, this is hardcore, honestly. But an interesting point I want to make about this story is that because these kids were so sheltered, there was a group of them, a small subset of these kids who were like, nah, this cult is spooky, like, we're going to beat it. So what they did is they found out really smart ways to get past it. Like, dude, smuggling beer in Pringles cans, that is the smartest shit I've ever heard.
Oh, it's great. Yeah.
Like, smuggling-wise. That's pretty solid.
That's good.
I mean, it would be a lot heavier than the Pringles can.
Yeah, but they're not going to weigh your Pringles.
I mean, this is just like a thing. Like, does, like, sheltering people past a certain point in their life, when they know about the other stuff, in the outside world...
That's what's scary, is because right now it's a college. But what they're turning it into is they're also adding a high school, a middle school, and a daycare.
And an elementary school.
So you can like live your entire life in this place. They have their own power generator. They grow their own food.
Yeah.
They have their own cows. Like, it's a completely self-sufficient, isolated society that teaches like republicanism and like really strange
and, like,
Presbyterianism.
Puritanism.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I was thinking though, just like, does this sheltering at this later point in their life cause like ingenuity? Like, if you put really smart people in really hard situations. Well, I guess that's what America.
I know, like
that's
I know
like
that
capitalism.
My ingenuity kicked in because I later found out, to my utter dismay, that they actually changed the curriculum of the classes at the college so much that none of them would transfer out.
Oh.
And so, like, I was there doing all of this to transfer out, and then they're like, "Yeah, the only one that'll transfer out for you is public speech," and I was like, "What?"
I mean, that is a hard one. Anyway, no, what was that? Well, I was gonna say something about how the ingenuity and the shared. I don't know.
Well, I mean, the way that I figured out to get around is I just left.
Yeah.
I just said, like, give me a withdrawal form. I'm out of here. I'm sorry.
You didn't get kicked out?
No.
It would have been fun to get kicked out, though.
I thought about it.
My roommate got kicked out.
Like, I contemplated it, and I thought, like, do I want to drop out, or would I like to have some fun and get kicked out? But then I thought, if I really want to get accepted to another college, I can't get kicked out.
I don't know, man. I'm just saying you could have set the baseball field on fire.
I wish I did. I had fun with it.
As you're quitting, like, you walk out and then you set it on fire. They'll never know.
I mean,
There's absolutely no motive.
I had fun fucking with people right before I left. Like, I had it in my mind a couple days ahead. I was like, okay, I'm going to do my withdrawal form.
Were you just, like, silently going crazy? You're like, hey, this place is great. I love this place. Do you love this place? And they're like,
Well, one of the things that was weird, one of the moments that really scared me was, like, I was walking one day, and I feel like I'm a virtuous person. We're doing a podcast where virtue is one of the things that we talk about.
Okay.
And so I'm at the school, and I'm walking, and I start thinking, am I really just a piece of shit, and they're right about all this stuff? And then I was like, no.
Dude, that's the mindset. That's like the slippery slope mindset.
Yes, that was whenever it occurred to me. I was like, I need to get out of here. I have to leave now. Like, that thought should never cross my mind.
That is some next level
spook stuff, guys. So, like, whenever I was leaving, I had fun with it. I was sitting on break one day at work, and I started talking to one of the students, and I was like, yeah, I just keep having this recurring dream that I'm just, like, drowning everybody in the lake.
What?
And just watch them all
they're just like
start excusing themselves from my presence.
Were these like kids you had known all year or something?
Yeah, I'd like talk to them every once in a while, but then I just started acting like I was having a mental break and I was like coming out about my psychosis.
That is pretty strong.
They started like excusing themselves from my presence, and I had a lot of fun with it.
See, my first college was like interestingly liberal. Like I know yours was very conservative. I almost said the opposite.
I would even say like if there's a word beyond conservative I can use, like it was like fascist cult
Puritans.
Yeah.
No, dude, my first college, it was so liberal, and I just didn't know it until I got there.
Right.
And I'm not complaining. It wasn't like a post-liberal like I would call Tumblr. Where they like automatically hate people for just existing.
Right. Like, hey, check your living privileges.
Yeah, check your breathing privileges.
You motherfucker.
You're killing amoebas, all right?
Right.
No, it was pretty liberal in the fact that, or in the sense that, everything was really accepted for the most part, especially when presented by minorities. Anyway, there was this play. There was this live action play that was being offered to view, because that's how things work.
Right.
Money can be exchanged for goods and services, Ben, and this was certainly a good and a service
at the same time
to the eyes. This play was just one word. It was called cock.
That was the play?
That was the name of the play, dude. I swear to God.
Wait, was it just like a live action like porno? Just
let me get to it.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So, me and my buddies, we were like, dude, we should totally go to this play, and we're like joking about it and laughing about it. And then we get to the theater, and like my buddy's still making jokes about it, and everyone's laughing because, or like a lot of people were like snickering because I guess this was the first time it had occurred to them they could make a joke about the play. I don't know, they were just like taking it so seriously.
Right.
And so we get in there to the play, and it's like a weird theater setup. I don't know how many theater kids are out there, but it's the theater with I think it's called a black box theater because there's a set in the middle, and it's like very minimalist props. It's very dark, and then there's seating on all four sides.
Oh, okay.
So and it's like top down lighting. It's really cool, and I mean the play was honestly it was acted out pretty well. The writing was really shit. For some reason, the writer had demanded that any time the play be performed, it had to be done with British accents. It was like, okay, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess that's the setting, but the setting didn't matter. It
right.
was a black
box.
Can
I interject really quick?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go back and like play on that one thing how they like if it has to be played in British accents. So the school that I was at, they ran by donors.
Yeah.
And the donors would request really weird shit. So like they have to serve fried chicken and waffles every Sunday, or else a donor would stop donating. So by extension, every Sunday there was like fried chicken available.
Oh, that's so weird.
Yeah, and then there was a mandatory swimming class because, like, sad story, one of the donors like had someone they knew like drowned or something. So like everybody has to learn how to swim at this college, or else you will not get my $1 million.
But it's so I don't know how people don't know.
I'm here to learn computer programming, and I have to eat fried chicken, and also I have to like
you have to swim.
So I have to swim. Like
it's like the weirdest thing ever. They're recording it.
Yeah. Anyway, go on.
Anyway, so this black box theater setup, we go in, and we had heard rumors about what the play was about, and we knew one thing, that there was a sex scene, and we were like, well, this sounds interesting,
right,
and liberal. So we go, and we're like, I mean, it's okay. It's an okay play, like I said. The acting was good, but the writing was shit, and you can only act out shitty writing so well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the play progresses, and we sense it. We sense it's coming up.
Yeah.
The sex scene.
Right. Things are getting steamy in the black box theater.
Yeah, things are getting steamy in this theater. And it was a sold-out theater, too, mind you. So dude, every seat was filled.
If I saw that locally there was a play called Cock...
Yeah, dude, we had to...
I would have to go.
We had to reserve our tickets, weeks in advance. So... And I think they were free tickets, because it was college. So it was just or maybe free for students. Maybe a couple bucks, yeah. So we sense the steaminess, we feel it, we feel the tension in the air, and all of a sudden the lights go down.
Yeah.
And it's quiet for a few seconds while people are moving into position, I guess.
Right.
And then the lights come back on, but it's just like one red spotlight, and it was like, Roxanne. But that didn't play, but it played in my head.
Right. Wait, so it was just like a red light with no music?
Yeah, just a red light top
that's like
down.
It's like kind of some
Saw.
A
red light top down.
Sounds like Saw to me.
Two people having simulated sex.
And a red spotlight with no music?
I say simulated.
With British accents?
Yeah, I say simulated because I assume they weren't actually having sex on stage.
Were they naked?
Yeah.
Really?
They were naked, dude. The woman had pierced nipples, and I saw the boy's butt.
Wow.
I know, dude. How liberal is that?
I enjoy that.
Honestly, it wasn't bad. Like, it was a college thing. I think everyone knew what it was. The only one that couldn't take it seriously was my buddy. He was, like, holding back giggles. But that's just because, I don't know, that's him. You know,
yeah.
Some people are just like that. He wanted to go to it for the comedic effect. And I think 99.9% of people in that theater knew that it was not a comedy. I don't know why they called it cock. God forbid.
I think that's kind of funny. I mean, it's okay to mix comedy and serious stuff. Like, that's Quentin Tarantino. Like, you watch his movies, and it's, like, not supposed to be funny. It's, like, horrible shit that you're watching, but then you have to laugh at it.
Yeah. Well, I think the plot of the play was that this guy and this girl were together, but then he was turning gay for this other dude. And then the girls... or like the dude's dad or the girl's dad, they have a dinner, and I don't know. It was interesting.
That is seriously the most Tumblr play I've ever heard of.
Right. Yeah. It is so Tumblr.
That sounds like a Tumblr like blog story.
So liberal.
That someone would write.
There's another play we went to. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Very liberal. This wasn't so much of a play as I don't know, what's it called when people just read things? Is that a play? Sort of?
I mean, there's like storytelling.
Okay, so basically, they were just
poetry?
It was called the Vagina Monologues.
Oh, yeah, I know what that is.
You've heard of this, yeah. And it was just, I went with my girlfriend at the time, who is still my beautiful girlfriend now. Shout out to her. And we went, and there were just like a dozen or so girls on stage with various previously written. Obviously, you know, this was from like a thing they did all around the country.
Yeah, it's just like jokes about what it's like to...
stories about what it's like to have a vagina.
Right.
And it's like the prejudices that come along with it.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, and like some girl had a fake orgasm. And that was very liberal.
You know, that I would much rather... No, I mean, like, I would much rather be doing that right now than doing anything, really. Like, especially going to the college that I was at where, like... Everybody was like, "Oh, you have any thoughts about anything that isn't, you know, our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ?
Oh,
get out of here."
C word? You mean cats? Cute? I don't know what C word you're talking about. What is this play you're talking about? Like, how would you even go about explaining that to the staff there?
Oh, you couldn't do it. Actually, I was really... So by the time I was done with orientation, we had to write a paper about the values of like ourselves and how that relates to the college.
Yeah.
So I actually took a jab, like right out the starting gate.
Oh, you took a jab at the college?
Yeah. I wrote about the Apoptha Ignomata, and that is a collection of stories by the Desert Fathers who were led by Alexander.
This could be some strong BS. I want you to know, Desert Fathers.
No, this okay. Here's the thing. This isn't BS.
Okay.
This is actually real.
What's it called?
The Desert Fathers.
No, the thing before.
The Apoptha Ignomata.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Or you can also find it on like Audible or Amazon called the Sayings of the Desert Fathers.
Okay.
So basically, they decided that Roman Catholicism was too legalistic. So they left and went down into the desert of Egypt and established these giant desert communities where they were all hippies and just meditated all day. And so like I wrote about anti-establishment and like anti-political religious themes.
Dude, like I bet that paper got you like red lighted.
Yeah,
I'm sure. I bet they have a system in their computers. I really don't put it past them.
Oh no, I'm fairly certain they would say like just watch this person, you know, because like ideas are dangerous, blah blah blah. Bolshevism.
Ideas are dangerous.
Yeah.
Oh man, that place is spooky.
Dude, spooked me because so I wrote that paper right out the gate, just totally flying in the face of pretty much everything that they kind of are. But then I like tied it up with like, you know, ethical and Christian values to like make me right, you know.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, that liberalness at the college did come back to cause some problems for a dear friend of mine. Basically, there was a false accusation made from a girl towards my friend, and it turned in her favor, like from the beginning. And there was no ability to fight that because,
dude, that's terrible.
That was just the mindset of that college. It was almost, I don't know, like the Tumblr that you see nowadays. It was almost like that, yeah.
Like the rape culture kind of stuff.
It was pretty far-fetched for it to be, I don't know. I can't explain the situation, obviously, understandably.
Yeah.
But good Lord, the Tumblr.
Dog. Fuck people, though.
People, I think, have potential to be bad. I think people are probably mostly inherently good.
Oh, I don't believe that at all.
Oh my good Lord, Ben.
I'm
we
sorry.
only have a few minutes left. We cannot get... No. Okay.
Yes, we can.
Quick. I think people are inherently good, and they are... or their minds are obstructed by these dreams, these cultural ideas of power and how they need it. You can't not have power. If you don't have power, then you're a homeless person. That's basically what it amounts to.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have power in anything, your job, your current, your current social status, or even in a relationship, then you are a failure. And it's because of these societal norms that people get pushed to these extremes of evil. And I think, I don't know, obviously, if you just let people be people, that's what happened. Like, our society happened. But it's only because of people who, tasted power in some interesting or, like, some personal way or by some setup that they were like, hey, if I notify everyone else about this, I can trick them and, like, use it for myself. And it's just a thing where there's a few selfish people out there and they ruin it for everyone.
I don't know, man. I think people are inherently bad. I think they are. I think that people are automatically going to be selfish, and I think that selfishness is like the root of bad decision making. Because like I think that virtue has to be taught, and I feel like that the people that aren't virtuous are the people that don't understand virtues or ethics.
Huh.
And because and whenever you do, like you become virtuous whenever you understand virtue, right?
I understand that. Yeah, that's a valid point.
Because then you can't not be virtue, because then you are automatically making a decision about something that's clearly positive, right? But that being said, it's never easy to be virtuous. You have to be virtuous whenever you understand virtue, but you're gritting your teeth while doing it, because it often means you're sacrificing something to yourself.
I wouldn't say that.
Not often, but I also think that virtue is sufficient for happiness as well. So I think that a happy life is a virtuous life.
All right, Aristotle.
Even though it's not easy.
All right, I see where you're coming from, and I see how there are problems, especially when, these ideas aren't exposed to people at a young age. Like, I am such a strong believer, like, if we just taught, like, understanding of ethics in, like, middle school and high school.
I'd say from, like, kindergarten on.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, a lot of people will be like, nah, too extreme.
No.
But, like, even, all you have to do is, like, diddle in it, you know what I'm saying?
Well, the whole thing is, too, is, like, people use the like, children, there's the F word for children, and that word is fair.
Oh.
Yeah, kids are like, that's not fair.
That's not fair.
Yeah, and then you grow up and you realize, fuck you, life's not fair.
Life, and that's funny.
You have to unlearn that.
You have to unlearn that is not fair.
So they should just
settle.
They should teach you it right off the gate, that this is not a fair existence.
Or they should teach you the hedonist way of thinking, which is you can't know the future and you can't not know the future. Therefore, you shouldn't let it disturb you when it happens.
Or the Stoic way of thinking,
which is very similar to that.
Which
quote.
is similar.
Yeah.
Which would say, this is the way that life is. It is in accordance with nature, and you should just accept it.
And you can usually make it great. I would say there are definitely situations out there where people can never ever make their lives as great or as happy as they would like to have them be.
I think that most people live in that existence. I think that very few people ever make their lives as great.
Well,
as
I'm saying there's some people that just can't. Like, no matter what they did, they wouldn't be able to get out of their current situation. And that's why people who are in situations that are like prime should be like, hey, at least let's brainstorm. I'm not saying you take personal action, because that is a huge step. People are like, oh, if you want to do something, stand up for it. Like, dear Lord, that is a huge step and such a difficult thing. That
is it though?
I think people undermine that step, because you're asking, is it though? But do you have any personal experience in...
I do, but here's the thing, guys. Like, I have learned that mind over matter is a real thing. Like, you can, if you actually decide to do something, you can do it. And so, Kierkegaard is a philosopher who talks about two different sects of, like, people. And basically that is people that are lost in the finite and people that are lost in the infinite. And people that are lost in the finite are people who feel like that they're stuck in a situation because they're only looking at, like, the options that are given to them within a situation, and they don't actually look at anything else that they could do. So, like, for instance, that's someone that, like, falls in love with their high school sweetheart, and then they stay together forever, and then they get married, and then they end up in a failing marriage because they never actually, even though they were kind of happy together, they never actually, thought about that there are other people out there.
Yeah.
And that led to a bunch of disagreements. So then the same person could even find themselves lost in the infinite. And being lost in the infinite would be like where I would find myself most of the time in my life, thinking that I have so many things that I could do. I don't know.
Or like even I have so many things to do. Why should I choose one now?
Yeah.
Or why should I choose just one?
And then you spend forever sitting there thinking about, like the decisions that you have.
Yeah. And then you do nothing with your life.
Yeah.
And you're a sad failure.
Right. So then,
no offense, Ben. No, right. Because you're not doing that. But it is possible to get trapped in that.
It is.
You recognize.
Yeah. And so like it's two sides of like the same coin. So then the guy that, had a failing marriage because he was lost in the finite, now he, redid his life and smokes weed every day and says, I'm going to go move to Europe and
that's
get a job. And then he never does it. He just talks about it all the time.
That's not chill.
No, because he's lost in the infinite now.
Well, they say being close to the infinite is good, though. That's what philosophy says.
Yeah, I agree. I think that
because the infinite is a universe, and being close to the universe is so important.
He does. I think he does go on to say that being lost in the infinite is probably preferable. But guess what else we're close to, guys?
The non-infinite end of this podcast.
There you go. We'll see you guys next time.